Ever wonder what really makes a great app work? It's not just the slick design you see on the screen. Nope. Underneath it all, there's a rock-solid foundation of data. And today, we're going to learn how to build the blueprint for that foundation. Let's jump in. So let's imagine for a second. You have this killer idea for the next big social media app. You've got users, they can join groups, make posts, like stuff. It's going to be huge. But how do you actually keep track of all that? Who's in what group? Who likes which post? If you don't have a plan, you're looking at a complete digital meltdown. And that right there, that's our first major hurdle, what I like to call the data chaos problem. See, without a solid plan, all that information, your users, their posts, their groups, it's just a big chaotic jumble. It's like trying to find one specific photo on a computer with no folders, just a mess. And this is kind of what that chaos looks like. You've got a list of users over here, a list of groups over there, and some vague list of who's a member of what. But how are they really connected? What does gov even mean? Is that student government? We don't know. How would you find all the groups Lisa is in without scanning the whole list? It's clunky, it's slow, and it's just begging for mistakes. So how do we escape the chaos? Well, it's the same way you'd build a house. You start with a blueprint, right? You'd never just show up with a pile of bricks and hope for the best, and you should never, ever do that with your data. We need a plan, a blueprint that maps everything out before we even think about writing code. And here it is. This is our blueprint. It's called the Entity Relationship Model, or just the ER model for short. Think of it as a super simple visual language that lets us sketch out our entire data world. This is the tool that's going to bring beautiful order to all that chaos. Now, the ER model sounds kind of technical, but here's the secret. It's really just built on three incredibly simple ideas. So let's break down these basic building blocks one by one. First up, we have the entity. An entity is just a thing that we want to store information about. You know, a person, a place, an object. For our social media app, the most obvious things are the users and the groups. These are the main nouns in the story of our data. And in our ER diagram, our blueprint, we represent a whole collection of these things, what we call an entity set, with a simple rectangle. So all of our millions of users, they all live inside this one users box. Easy enough, right? Okay, so we know we have users, but that's not very helpful. We need to know things about them. And that's where our second building block comes in, attributes. These are just the properties or details that describe an entity, like a user's name or their age or an ID number. They're like the adjectives for our nouns. And drawing them is just as easy. We represent attributes as little ovals that we connect to their entity rectangle. So for our users, we're definitely going to want to store a unique ID. Let's call it UID. And of course, their name. But hang on a sec. What if we have two users named Lisa? How do we tell them apart? That's where a key comes in. A key is a special attribute that is absolutely 100% guaranteed to be unique for every single user. No duplicates allowed. And to show it's a key, we just underline it in our diagram. That UID is perfect for this. All right, so we've got our nouns, the entities, and we've got their adjectives, the attributes. What's missing? We need the verbs, and that's our third and final building block, the relationship. This is how we show the connection, the association, between our different entities. This is how we connect all the dots. And here's where the magic happens. We draw our group's entity, and then we connect it to our user's entity with a diamond shape. We label that diamond to describe what's going on. In this case, a user is member of a group. And just like that, our two separate lists are now clearly, logically, beautifully connected. Okay, we've got the basic structure down, but a really good blueprint goes a little deeper. It doesn't just show you the pieces, it gives you the rules for how they fit together. So now it's to find some rules for our data. So we have to ask ourselves some questions. In our app, can one user join, say, 5 different groups? Yeah, for sure. And can one group have hundreds or even thousands of users in it? Absolutely. This idea of defining how many things can be on either side of a relationship, that has a name. It's called multiplicity. Let's look at 2 of the most common rules. The one we just described, where many users can join many groups, is called a many-to-many relationship. Simple, right? But what if we had a rule like is owned by? You could have many groups, but maybe each group can only be owned by one single user. That's called a many-to-one relationship. And to show that one side in our diagram, we just draw a little arrow pointing to it. It's a really clean way to bake our rules right into the blueprint. So we've designed our blueprint. We've defined the rules. Now for the really fun part, the payoff. Let's see how this conceptual diagram actually transforms into a real working database. And this is why the model is so powerful. It's what this quote is getting at. It's the perfect bridge. It's detailed enough that a developer knows exactly what to build, but it's also simple and visual enough that non-technical people, like your boss or your client, can look at it, understand it, and give you feedback. It gets everyone speaking the same language. And here it is, the big reveal. On the left, you see the diagram we just built. And on the right, that's what it becomes in the real world, a set of clean, organized database tables. And look how direct it is. Our user's entity becomes a user table. Our group's entity becomes a group table. It's a straight line from plan to reality. But hold on. Look closely. What happened to our diamond, the is member of relationship? This is the most brilliant part. The relationship itself becomes its own table. The member table just holds two pieces of information, the unique ID from a user and the unique ID from a group. That's it. This one simple table connects everything and completely, totally solves the data chaos we started with. It's so elegant. So let's just recap the whole thing. Your data blueprint has three simple parts. You've got entities, those are your nouns, your things. You've got attributes, those are the properties that describe them. And you've got relationships, the verbs that connect everything together. Master the simple plan and you can build complex, powerful apps that won't fall apart when things get big. So the next time you're scrolling through Instagram or shopping on Amazon, try to picture it. Try to see the blueprint humming away underneath it all. What are the entities, the products, the customers, the orders? What are the relationships? Once you know what to look for, you'll start seeing these blueprints everywhere. Happy designing!